Are you looking for a podcast about all the Peter Parkers and one interloper?
Then you're in the right place. Welcome to a YMBToAP Interlude. Kelsey, you're here!
Hello!
Not like this is a numbered episode, but
No.
you're here!
I do want to say thank you guys so much for covering for me last week when my life got ridiculous and out of hand. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all the love from everybody. I love you guys.
Good. Hopefully you got a bunch of good love. As I said, I knew that it would fill your cup. You would just sip on all that love.
Yes.
Just going to town on it.
Very much.
So I'm about to go to town.
Spider Town.
Spider Town. Oh, damn it. Too bad we named these whatever interlude, because this would
I
be
know.
I'm
The
going
suspense
down to
is
Spider
killing
Town. Can I crack this first? Because I also have a
Yes.
surprise koozie to show you.
Oh, is it Spider-Man?
No, it's not Spider-Man.
Oh, damn it.
You ready?
Yeah.
So first of all,
Oh, Zombie Tramp Koozie. It finally came in. Oh, my God.
yep, it's so soft. It's so like velvety. It's weird.
Just like
All
Zombie
right,
Tramp.
let's crack this. I don't know that she is, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to think about the texture of her skin.
Yeah, I know.
That's not what we're here for.
I'm also mad that you missed the last one because I also did quite the ASMR of pouring a drink into a glass.
Oh, I
That
love
was
that.
very nice. I've never done that. You've done that before. And it was weird because I was like, I don't know the right level to get it on. And it was
Yeah.
so just like perfect. I was just like,
Good.
ooh, crispy. So, to the point, everybody's waiting. Everybody's been holding on to their last web,
Yes.
waiting for this.
And we're here to bring it to you. YMBToAP's Deep Dive on.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
I don't really like how people are doing the abbreviations for these because they're just calling it like Spider-Man ATSV because it's Across the Spider-Verse and then
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse, so it's ITSV. But
See-
some people say that shit though. Spider-Man Instiv,
No.
Atsiv, like it's fucking AT shit, man. It's
I don't like that.
real bugging me.
I
don't like it.
I like this series of titles for the movies, but also I'm one of those people that can't keep it straight when movies are like not just called like Star Wars 1, Star Wars 2.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what order these are in. This is difficult.
Yeah, so we got Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, and our next one will be Beyond the Spider-Verse. Ooh,
Yeah, okay. So I guess that makes sense. Like, you
spooky.
go in and then you traverse it and then you leave it.
Yeah.
I've just been calling it Spider-Man 2, the animated one.
I honestly didn't really know what this one was called before I went to see it. I was just like, it's the fucking new Spider-Man. Like, it's
Yeah.
Into the
2 tickets
Spider-Verse
for
again.
Spider-Man, please. Right.
Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse again. I would love if the third was just Spider-Man. Here we go again. The Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse, one more time.
So I gave a rating in pre-ramble for last week's show.
Okay.
And then I said I'm going to give a rating, but Kelsey's getting a different rating.
Okay.
I would like to open up just straight up with a rating. What do you give this movie?
This movie's flavors are aerated. It is a YMBToAP 10 out of 10. Stamp it. Certified.
I gave it a 10 out of 10. This is like a billion out of 10. This movie
Yeah.
is
This knocked my fucking socks off.
weirdly good.
Yeah, I was like glued to the back of my seat, just like, whoa, the whole movie.
So I will say this, because it is 2.5 hours. So I was like, damn, like that's going to be a chore for Kelsey, you know?
I'm not going to lie, it was a
Oh,
long
no.
movie.
Okay. When it
I mean-
ended, for me,
Uh-huh.
the first time, I literally looked over and just went, that could be 3 more hours, and I would not complain.
It was so good. Like,
This could keep going.
yeah, it was 2.5 hours, but it needed to be 2.5 hours. Like, there wasn't a scene in that movie that I would cut.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was perfect.
So I think we're going to kind of go a little bit chronological, but also just like, sidestep as we do.
Wherever the YMBToAP dump truck takes us.
So I will open with the opening and already do our first little sidestep.
Let's get into it.
This movie is not about Miles.
No, absolutely not.
This movie is about Gwen.
Yeah, fully. 1,000%.
Okay, cool. Like, that's the thing. She had the arc in this one. We're halfway through his arc for whatever's going to be across and then beyond.
Yes.
Like, we're in the middle of his story now. And I actually heard something really interesting, the way somebody described it. Let me know if you think this is the same thing, because I kind of agree.
Okay.
Somebody was like, there was an ending in this movie, but this movie did like you do when you're watching Netflix. Like, you're binging a season of a show, you finish season 2, and you're like, oh my god, that was great. Let's just watch the next one and see what the opening of season 3 is going to be like.
Yeah, I actually did feel like that because there were several points, not even just one point. I can't pinpoint exactly where, but there were points in this movie where I was like, okay, that's a good ending. And then it just kept going. I was like, okay, where are we going? I wasn't ever like, I want to leave this movie. I was like, let's just fucking keep watching. And maybe the next movie's happening right now. I don't know.
Just because it's been such a fucking thing online and with people in the theaters, were you aware this was a part 1?
I mean, it's part 2, right? But like, you mean
well, no,
the cliffhanger situation?
Well, this was called Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. And so then they like changed the name a little bit later, and it was like Across, but now Beyond. Like, it was full well known. This was a part 1 of a story. This was never going to end. And people don't remember that. It's like a whole Dune situation. Like, it's Dune Part 1.
Okay.
And people got mad that Dune didn't end. It's called Part 1, bro. Like,
yeah. I was not aware that this was going to end like that, but I'm glad that it did. Like, Richard and I were talking about it when we left the theater. He was like, I'm happy that they ended it like that on a cliffhanger, because it was very much in the vein of like Star Wars Episode 5, where the movie ends and everything's fucking hopeless. You have no idea what the protagonists are, how are they going to get out of this one?
Yeah.
Like, and that's how I felt when I left the theater. I felt like, for the briefest moment, I felt cheated. I was like, they left it like that. Are you kidding? But then as we were walking out, I was like, okay, now I'm just like ready to see the next one. So,
see, I knew it was a part 1, so I just kept going like, is this the cliffhanger? Oh, it's still going. Is this where we end? Oh, it's still going. God. What about this? That's still going. Like, I kept trying to be like, where are you going to fuck me over?
Yeah.
I was waiting for the fuck over part, but where it ended, I did not feel fucked over.
Yeah,
I felt so tantalized. Like,
yes.
My appetite was whetted, man.
The end of this movie is what Marvel movie post-credit scenes think they're doing.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%, yes.
Like you said, I'm tantalized. My appetite is ready for more Miguel, honestly. But
I will go ahead and ruin this for everybody before we really get into the rest of it. There's a date for the next one.
Oh, God.
March of next year.
Next year? Holy shit. I thought they were going to say 2025 or something. Because we
Guaranteed
got 5 years.
This is going to be delayed.
Oh, God.
There's no way. Because they're taking like a little break. Because they've been working on this one since the first one came out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, this...
Like, they're taking a break.
The animation level in this movie. Like, can we get into it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're already in it.
We're already in it.
I mean, that goes hand in hand with the opening in the first place, because the art is literally the first thing that this movie makes you understand is happening.
Yes. Okay, so I felt like the first Into the Spider-Verse movie, the first movie, Spider-Verses, the first one, I thought that it was, top of its game in animation. I was like, they don't make movies like this. This is beautiful. This is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And then this movie comes out. And I'm like wetting my pants.
I don't even like the first movie now. And I love the first movie.
It was so good and revolutionary for cinematography. But this one just, it takes it to another level. Like, there was that episode of Visions, of Star Wars Visions, that I had sent to you where everything is kind of painterly and it comes in and like
Yes,
color and
yes.
waves and stuff. This movie gives that to you for 2.5 hours. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it is just constant. It felt like I was watching something that was,
Art.
yeah, like it's legit art. Like, it's something that is happening
yeah.
in someone else's brain, which is beautiful just in its essence, because that's kind of like what comic books are about as a medium. Like,
Yeah.
they're there for the good art, of course, but they're there also to like spark your imagination and make you think about Spider-Man flying across the city and looking really cool in his art style. And just the way that
Yeah.
these things literally leap off the page at you is nutty. Like, it's gorgeous.
Okay, this opening, did this opening fucking, trying to think of a non, like, extremely dirty way to say that, but, like, did this opening just, like, knock your socks off with how good it was? Like, it literally just starts, and you have, like, 30 minutes of the fucking movie. Like, 20
Yeah.
minutes, maybe? And then I love it when the title comes in after, like, a good kind of cold open thing.
Yes. Yeah. Actually,
And
when
it
it happened
was so good.
in my brain, I was like, Robert's going to love that shit.
I fucking ate that up, dude.
Yeah.
People are really upset at Gwen's world. They don't like
Upsetty
it.
spaghetti. Nobody.
They
I'm
don't
gonna say-
understand it.
I'm going to say this opinion, and I've said it before. People don't like women in comic books, in movies, in pop culture. People don't like them.
So,
Something about those pesky ladies.
let me show you this, because I want to show you how faithful this is to, like, her brand.
Okay.
So I'm sending you a picture.
What I really love about what I really love about this episode of YMBToAP is that I'm coming at this from the standpoint of, like, I just saw a really cool movie, and Robert's coming at it from the standpoint of, I just saw a really cool movie about one of my favorite things on earth, and I'm going to tell you every single thing about it.
I fucking am, dude. So, like, her whole world is ripped straight out of her fucking comic book pages.
Yeah, this, like, cover of Spider-Gwen #1 here, this is the movie. Like that's
Like, her world is made out of watercolors.
so fucking cool.
And people don't like that.
Well, people
Why?
can suck with
I
fucking
don't
shit.
understand it. Why isn't she just in a plain old room being boring?
Get it? Why is the background melting?
I was like, I couldn't handle it. Like, I love how, like, so they've said that her world is like a mood ring. That, like,
Ooh, I
every
like
time somebody
that.
starts getting sad, the colors around them will shift. Now, I have
Okay.
seen it twice as of this recording. If we had recorded later, it would have been 3. But if you do watch it again, you can see that. So, like, it opens with her talking to her dad and stuff, and there is this, like, coldness on her half the room, and his, like, I'm trying to get close to my daughter, happiness, like this brightness, like he's trying to do something. And like, when they hug that first time,
Ugh.
the colors meld and it, like, spreads out, you know?
Yeah, the way that they
That
do
is
color in this
intriguing.
movie,
Yes.
so good. It's amazing. Like, they thought about every single pixel, every single brush stroke, everything that they animated in this was just so thoughtfully
Oh, yeah.
curated. It's incredible.
You can, like, know about this movie, but until you've, like, seen this movie, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you
So,
really don't until
I mean,
you
I guess
experience this art, you know?
I guess we should have said at the very, very top of the episode. Of course, this is going to be full spoilers. You know that if you're coming into a YMBToAP interlude,
Oh, yeah.
it's going to be spoilers tip to tail.
Yeah, we
So-
don't hold back in these.
No way.
So we got this whole opening. I guess I'll ask what you think about her backstory, how Peter is like a friend of hers, and then he dies, and that's like her Uncle Ben moment and all that kind of stuff.
That's something that we'll get into further down the line too, but like the whole concept of, I don't know, her universe being one where her, canon event is something
Yeah.
that is kind of outside of what the other Spider-Men have experienced. It's very cool. I like it.
Which, yeah, we're going to get into canon events later and how... I got some beef with Miguel, man. I don't really...
Oh, no.
I mean, Miguel is... He's
Caked
a
up.
fun character, man.
On a Tuesday afternoon.
But, I mean, you can agree or disagree, but he's the villain of the story.
Yeah.
He's hands down the villain here.
Maybe that's why I love him so much.
Like Spot's not even the villain.
Oh my god, Spot though. I loved that guy. Like, let's talk about Spot for a second because he was one I've never seen. I thought when he showed up, I was like, oh, Rorschach, but it wasn't Rorschach.
Okay.
So, he was
Much
voiced
nicer than Rorschach.
Yeah, he's voiced by Jason Schwartzman, which I was like, that's hilarious.
Wait a minute. Is he? Because I looked up the dude and I was like, I don't know this guy.
Yeah, Mr. Coconut Records himself.
Who is the Spot? Not Jason Schwartzman, because that's Sonic, right?
No, that's Ben Schwartz.
Okay, cool. That's where my whole thing was. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I know that dude's face. I have
Yeah.
seen that dude a million times, and then I looked up everything he's in. I'm like, I've never seen a single thing you're in. How do I fucking know you?
Isn't he in...
How do I know him?
Well, you might know him from Orange is the New Black. He's the boyfriend in that show. But I thought he was also in, what do you call it? Kevin, Big Guy Hockey Jersey movies. What the fuck is Kevin Smith? Jesus, what did I forget the name Smith?
Wait, what was your explanation of him again? Big guy hockey shirt movies?
He's also in a couple of Wes Anderson movies, like every Wes Anderson. Oh, he's in Scott Pilgrim. That's where you know him from.
Oh yeah, he's Gideon.
Yes.
That's why I know him. Okay. He's not in. No, he's in a bunch of the Wes Anderson things. He's not in any Kevin Smith things. And I've only
Who's the
seen
guy?
one. You're thinking of Jason. Man,
Jason, the other one.
the Jasons I have a hard time with. The Chris's I'm good with. I'm good with the Chris's.
Who's the guy I'm thinking of?
Oh, I know who you're thinking of. Because he was even Leonardo in my cartoon show for TMNT. Orange is the New Black cast. When I find his name, I'm going to get pissed. Because I'm pretty sure I know. But I know I'm going to mess up the last name. Jason Biggs.
Jason Biggs, yes.
See, I really wanted to say Bateman, but I was like, I know it's not Jason Bateman. Because I know him.
Yeah. I thought these guys were the same person. I'm not going to lie.
See? The Jasons are hard, man.
Yeah.
The Jasons is hard. Okay. So, yeah. This guy, Jason Schwartzman, the only thing I know him from is Scott Pilgrim, I think. Because I've seen virtually no Wes Anderson movies.
That's got to change.
They are overrated.
I mean, yeah, but
they're
you gotta
okay.
see them.
I mean, I've seen Grand Budapest, and it was good. But I've never dreamed of watching it again.
You've watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, though, right?
I have not still, and that
my
burns
God.
my soul to death, man. Because it's, like, animated, and I want to see Isle of Dogs, and I haven't seen that either.
I haven't seen that one either. We should watch that one.
Yes, I want to see both of those.
This review's not about Jason Schwartzman.
But anyway, well, he did a phenomenal fucking job. I'll say that much.
He did. Yeah, I loved the Spot. I'd never seen this guy in Spider-Man before, and the whole concept of him really fucked with me. Like,
so that's funny because that's his whole thing. He is the most looked down upon villain. He is considered a fake villain. Like, he is so D-tier level, nobody likes him.
Man, he's got, like, some real... Like, if you're into, I don't know, body horror or, like, you know, Cthulhu-type mythos stuff where, like, there's worlds inside of worlds and just being able to travel to alternate universes, and the fact that he, at one point, gets sucked into his own body really messed me up. Like, I was freaked out about that. Very existential.
That's the Spot, man.
That's the Spot.
He's in the old 1994 cartoons. Like, I've seen him a little bit. You know, like, I'm aware of him. I've never thought about him again. I will never stop thinking about him now. Like, that's one thing that these movies are doing well. They are really playing up things that you do not think are that big a deal and making them humongous fucking deals. And
you know when I love that kind of stuff, it does, like, magnifying glasses on small, interesting characters. I love that shit.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So when he gets sucked into himself and he pops out in all the different worlds, did those do anything for you?
I really liked it. Reminded me a lot of Everything Everywhere All at Once when he's, like, talking to that clerk at the gas station or whatever.
We do have to tie it back to that too, because you know the big thing right now is that the multiverse has a new logo right now?
No, what's that?
Oh, the Multiverse's logo is a bagel now.
Okay, yeah.
Because everything, everywhere, all at once is all about a bagel.
Mm-hmm.
And the Spot's whole premise was a bagel.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So now the
okay.
bagel is synonymous with the death of the multiverse.
God.
That's going to be like a new thing.
What a grandiose title to place upon a baked good.
For real. Well, so I bring that up because one of the places he goes to was the Tom Hardy Venom movies.
Oh, okay. I haven't
Like-
seen those, but I would love to. Because I love Tom Hardy.
No, you
love
would-
Venom.
Then don't talk about them with me.
Okay.
I hate both of those movies so much, and I don't like him as Venom. It's
I love
not
him and his
good.
little Princess Peach lips.
I mean, I like Tom Hardy. He ain't my Venom, man. He pops up in that, which means this movie went to like a Sony-owned movie.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's tons of background shit. I mean, Andrew Garfield's back there. Tobey Maguire's back there. Like,
Yeah.
it almost ties in every piece of Spider-Man media that has existed within the past like 30 years.
It
It's
did
all
some weaving.
in this fucking movie.
Yeah, I was actually shocked when they started bringing in real life, like real life
people.
movies. Yeah.
We got to get to one because you're gonna love the story behind it. I think.
Okay.
Spot was good.
Yeah, Spot's good.
Need to show you. That's why I'm sharing my screen with you. That was the thing I was gonna show you. Was about the bagel. So the whole thing is he's like, "You hit me with a bagel." Blah 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 blah. Right.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest jokes in the first movie whenever it came out. Like, that was a humongous joke that people picked up on why this movie was so good at, like, the small details of the animation and stuff.
Okay.
When they're escaping this scene, he's grabbed a bagel,
Oh, yeah.
and then as they leave, he throws this bagel, and it goes, bam, and it hits this dude.
Hits that guy in the face and says, bagel.
And it says bagel like it's a fucking sound effect, right?
Okay.
That's been a joke for 5 years. Like, since
Damn.
this movie came out in 2018, and the Spot's whole thing is he's a fucking joke, and he doesn't like that shit.
Oh, man. That's cool.
Like, it's all so connected. It's gross.
Yeah, that's in depth.
It's gross how interconnected this shit is. We do the opening. We got Gwen. You find out that Peter had died, and I guess
I have a question
another
for you about the
question.
opening before
Okay.
we move on. When Miles is talking in the beginning, does he say, "My name is Miles Morales, and this is my story for the last time," or something like that?
He says one last time. It's
Yeah,
a joke
one last
from the first movie.
Okay, because I was like, is he going to die in this movie?
So in the first movie, they keep introducing a new character. So like when Peter B. Parker shows up here, he's all like, "All right, let's do this intro one last time." And he's like,
Okay.
"My name's Peter Parker. I got bit by a spider. Blah 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 blah."
Okay.
And then Gwen shows up, and she's like, "Okay, let's do this one last time." And then she tells her story, and then the next person, "One last time. Here's my story." And they keep
Okay.
doing that. So now here he is again, going, "All right, one more time. Here's my story."
I feel like I should have watched the first one before going into this one again. I watched a recap, but it wasn't, in depth or anything. It was just like, here's the basic bones of the story that you.
I watched
missing.
it before I went and saw it, and I watched it the day after I saw it.
You have a problem.
Because I was like, oh my god, is it really all that connected? And I started to see all the threads that were woven into this, now knowing where it goes. I was like, oh my
Okay.
god, it's all fucking here. It's all laid out 5 years ago.
Yeah, so you're full, like, Pepe Silva at this moment.
Oh,
Just, like,
pff,
in,
you fucking know it,
in the
man.
conspiracy.
But so, we do the opening. Peter, okay, that was my question. Did you cry in this movie?
I did, but probably not for the reason that you think.
I mean, that's fine. You cried. That is good enough for me.
Okay.
I cried at least 7 times.
Oh my god.
I cried during the Gwen opening, man. I cried
Really?
when Peter died. That fucked me up because he knew who she was, and that really fucked with me. Because I don't like that
I was
shit.
confused about that. That was
Oh.
weird to me. Like, I didn't get that.
oh, well, like, he's dying, and he goes to, like, pull her mask off, and he's like, it's okay, Gwen, and, like, says her
Yeah.
fucking name. So I was like, a motherfucker knows. That's why he turned into the lizard, and then he tried to be like her, and then he died. Oh, my God.
So Peter Parker in her universe, like
Was her friend,
yeah.
and somehow he had pieced together that she was Spider-Gwen, and he
Okay.
wanted to be special like her because he was just a loser kid. So he drank that thing, became the lizard, accidentally dies in her
Oh.
arms going, I just wanted to be special like you, and then
That's
dies.
fucked up.
And I was like, I'm crying. We're 5 minutes into the movie.
All right.
And then there's people that didn't cry at all. So as long as you've cried, that's all I want. Because
Yeah.
you should be crying in Across the Spider-Verse somewhere.
You should be crying. Give me
Something
to cry
should
about.
get you, man. But so we do that, and then we get like quite the bombastic opening with one of the coolest art styles for me is this Leonardo da Vinci medieval
my God.
drawing vulture.
That was so cool. I did not expect that at all.
I love how he would talk. You couldn't understand it, and it would just like do a little pop-up bubble of what he was saying,
So good.
Or he would
I
throw
love what
a
they do
bomb.
with text.
and it would just like go into the inner, like, you know, like a Leonardo da Vinci like diagram of how that bomb works,
Yes,
and
it's so
show it to you.
cool.
Then it explodes. This movie's fast-paced.
It really is. Like, I feel like I could watch this 20 times and get something new every time.
Oh, for sure. We're fighting Vulture Dude, and then so Jessica Drew shows up. I think that's her name. Jessica
Host?
Drew. Spider Woman. I believe it's Jessica Drew.
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So this is an interesting one. I don't think I've talked about this on the show, but this is very relevant because if you're watching this movie and trying to take race out of this movie, I think you're not watching it right.
Okay.
Which, by the way, so I saw it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Good crowd, decent, right? Then I saw it again in Princeton, and I was like, that's going to be like the whitest crowd of all time.
Oh, yeah.
You would think, right? It was not.
Okay.
There were a lot of Hispanic and black people there.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie hits harder for the Hispanic community. And
Yeah.
people were about this movie. Like,
Good.
that theater was a phenomenal ride watching
Nice.
this movie. They were crying at, like, everything that had to do with their culture being on the screen and all this shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the fucking point, dude.
Yeah,
And
that
it
is
was
the
sending
point
me.
of this movie. Like, oh my god, so good. While we're talking about culture, could we talk about fucking Indian Spider-Man? Because holy shit.
So that guy, interestingly, they just filmed some of those lines a couple weeks before it came out.
Oh my god, for real?
Yeah, they called him back up and said, hey, he doesn't feel like culturally appropriate
Authentic.
enough. Like, yeah, like he doesn't feel right. So we want to hold a writer's room. Can you come in and kind of tell us what needs to be
Nice.
part of this character and stuff?
That is what needs to happen in every single piece
Yeah.
of media. Like, get the input from the people who have lived it.
Yeah. So the whole chai tea joke, that's
Yes.
all him.
And Don Bread.
Yeah, like all of that was stuff that he put in like last minute.
What's this guy's name? I was going to look up the actor.
I can't
gonna
remember his
write
name,
Indian
but I know he was in
Spider-Man.
Deadpool. Because he was a...
Paviter Prabhakar. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That's the Spider-Man's name. So the man's name, Karan Soni? Karan Soni? Karan?
That sounds about right. Yep, that's him. Yeah,
Okay.
because he's Dopinder in Deadpool, and he's so fucking funny, and I love him. Yeah, dude, he got to like just go say, hey, here's how I would do it. I mean, if you're trying to get people to understand from my culture, I'll put the stuff in there, and then they did.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I love that. Before we move on to him, because he's like a whole part of this thing,
Yeah.
Jessica Drew shows up, and I want to talk about this because I thought this was an interesting thing. I don't know if you've noticed this.
Okay.
It's a big trend in Hollywood that people are noticing, and it's a whole issue.
Okay.
A lot of times when you'll see Hollywood movies try to do diversity, they will take a red-haired character and make them black, right?
Yes, it's so
Okay.
weird.
So you know about that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I learned a new piece of information about it that I would not like to divulge here. It's just a little too hardcore about it.
Uh,
All right, I'll tell you, man.
okay.
I was watching a lady talk about it, and she was like, yeah, we don't like this. She was a black woman discussing the fact that this happens.
Okay.
And so she was like, as someone in the community, here's why we don't like it. Here's the things that we see about. Here's how we feel about it. And she said this one thing, and I was like, oh my God, oh God. So, like, it's kind of like a false diversity thing, but it's
Okay.
still a jab at black people, because she was like, I want you to think about the word ginger. And then I want you to think about what that means.
We don't need to think about that anymore.
And I was like, that's hard.
Yeah.
Like, to go see a movie and see diversity for your person, but feel like that's a jab in the background like that.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. Jessica Drew here is a black Spider-Woman that is not a redhead character. So I was like,
good.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm going to look at her because I don't remember her.
So we're not doing that. She had the big afro over the motorcycle and shit.
The pregnant lady, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this is her normally. I'll put
Also,
this picture
I love
in here for you.
I love when Spider-Gwen met her and was just basically like, Mommy?
Will you adopt me? So, like, that's the normal version of her character. So I was like, okay, cool. We didn't do that trope that I'm seeing so much as well.
Okay, so canonically, she's just like a regular white lady, and then they made her black for this movie.
Yes. Because, you know, the whole trend is usually when that happens, this is the trend we're following, the path. And I was like, oh, we didn't do that.
Okay.
Interesting. So now it almost just feels like, well, it's just a different version of this person.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it felt better to me. So she shows up, and then you got everybody's favorite. You got old Miguel showing up, right?
I love him. I can't say it enough. I love him.
I'm going to change windows real quick, and I'm going to pull this one up. I'm going to share this with you. Turn your headphones way down.
Okay.
Because we're talking about Spider-Man 2099, so you got to hear the old...
Whoa.
That's his theme song.
Okay.
Because that's all my TikTok is these days. Is
Yeah,
just
I love
this.
this. It's
nonstop.
good.
We're going to get to music later.
Okay.
'Cause that's like a whole other fucking part of this movie. I'm going to like make you love the music so hard.
Okay, good. Because, I mean, not that I didn't enjoy the music, but I don't...
Yeah.
None of it imprinted on me.
Oh, man. So much things. So then Miguel shows up. You get the whole, you know, the teeth and all the craziness. I love his fucking, like, laser web things and stuff, man.
Yeah.
They look good.
He's interesting.
So striking.
Like, yeah. The animation around him and just in general is so... I love how they, like, put the mood of the animation different on every single character. His animation is spooky. Like, he's just a spooky dude.
Everything that I think of from this movie when I think back on, like, the best looking parts, it's all parts with him.
Yeah. Like, every single part with him is just... There's such shadow that happens around his character. And the way that they play with light is so freaking cool. It's striking.
Even just his animation, like, in this opening with Gwen... We're still in the opening, guys.
God damn it. It was...
Like... Like, in the opening, they're, like, running around the building trying to get to the Vulture or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, Spider-Woman's on the motorcycle, and he's just, like, doing this run next to her.
Uh-huh.
That lean that he has, and, like, the way he's... like, that scene, I think about that scene constantly.
He's
There's
so
something
sharp.
about his movement that grabs me, dude.
It's very, like, slashy and sharp and angular.
Yeah. He's good. I love him.
Yes.
But I really hate him. Like, I secretly really don't like him.
He's a very good villain.
So we get the opening. Gwen's dad finds out that she's Spider-Man. And then, what did you think about that scene where it's like, he decides to arrest her and he's still going to take her in.
That was hard shit.
And then having to watch her decide to leave.
Yeah, that sucked. Like, watching her ask him, like, can you not be a cop right now and just be my dad? Like, that... Yeah. Oh, that was difficult. She has such a way with, like, emotion. Because, I mean, the other characters are bringing emotion to it, but something about Spider-Gwen's character really draws you in, or personally drew me in, I guess, and just made me like feel what she was feeling. Maybe it's part of the art style, you know, like you said, there's always that mood ring of an aura around her and stuff. I felt really connected to that character.
I mean, I guess since she's kind of the center point, I feel like almost nobody sent this movie home vocally as she did this time.
Yeah.
I mean, Haley Steinfeld just nailed it.
Knocked it right out of the park.
Everything she did was so... I mean, she gave main star energy for this movie.
Yes, main character energy for sure.
Almost everybody feels like a step below.
Yeah.
She feels like the standout. I'm the star of this show.
Yeah.
And this is Miles' fucking movie.
Yeah. There wasn't like a lot of scenes with Spider-Gwen, but she really did like take the mantle of the movie upon. Like it is this is a story about her.
So she decides to leave, join the Spider Society, go into the multiverse and stuff, and then you finally get the fucking opening credits, and it was dope.
Yes.
Fucking dope. So then we just find out Miles is doing his stuff, and then we see him fight the Spot for the first time. Which I love, because he's like trying to rob that store, and he's like, this is my first robbing, don't make this a bad thing for me. This is my first one, stop.
Yeah.
And then you find out that he was the guy that Miles hit with a bagel. And that's such a small thing. And he's like, that was everything to me, though.
Yeah.
Like, such a good villain thing. Like, you did a thing to me that means nothing to you. So I'm going to make it matter to you. And you just...
Yes.
You kind of laugh at him because he is a fucking goober. Like,
yeah, he is.
The dude is a loser. Period. Like,
is he just naked all the time? Also, like...
Yes.
Okay.
Because he was even like, why don't you take off the suit? And he's like, this is skin, actually.
The way he
what
pulls
you did to
on
me.
it made me so uncomfortable.
I thought you'd like this that I didn't really pick up on till the next time, kind of. Because he's a blank canvas, kind of. All of his shading is like when you're first drawing a character. It's all the like round circles lines. And all that stuff.
It's so cool.
That's like his like accent lines and stuff.
It's amazing.
This movie's good, guys.
It is thought out. Like the animators go hard in this movie. Whatever they paid them, double it.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't care.
I'm gonna tell you about another one that was animated so wild you're gonna be like, holy shit, I hate that for them. So then you basically just find out you hit me with a bagel. I want you to be my nemesis. That's it. I'm gonna kind of skip the family drama stuff. It's good stuff. You know, like him going to college and getting the grades and like a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk that. Like his parents are just like, we don't understand you these days. Like,
yeah, that part kind of resonated with me a little bit. There was a scene with Miles and his mom on the rooftop after, like, he's late to a party or whatever, and that little speech. I mean, it was even in one of the previews early on, I think, that we saw pretty much that whole scene play out. But like seeing it in action, like really, that's one of the scenes that got to me, made me cry. I was like, damn, that's the way. Let me find the quote
no, that's
that
some
she
good
had.
shit.
Yeah, it's good
she's
shit.
all like,
this one here, wherever you go from here, you have to promise to take care of that little boy for me. Make sure he never forgets where he came from and never doubts that he's loved and never lets anyone tell him that he doesn't belong there. And I'm not going to cry, but that like really got to me.
Because I don't want him to know that no one's going to root for him like us. No one's going to take care of him like us.
Fuck,
all
dude,
that shit
hit me hard. Like I've been kind of
Hispanic families in my theater were balling it up, man.
I imagine. I've been deep in like reparenting your inner child kind of stuff, and that line, like making sure that you, the little person inside of you, still knows that they're loved and they belong. And man, that one hit.
Yeah. I did not know that it was such a thing to not call parents by their first names. For those cultures, apparently that is a big fucking deal.
Okay, is it like just within that culture?
Yes,
because I remember as a kid, like I would address, my parents' friends by Mrs. whatever, Mr. whatever.
Yeah,
and some of them would be like, "You could just call me by my first name," and I'd be like, "That's weird. I don't want to do that." But I don't know.
I always just called people. I'd be like, "Oh, Kelsey's mom."
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a name. You're Kelsey's mom.
Like one of those
You have a title.
headless people in Dexter's Lab or something.
Yeah, you're a title. You're not
This is Kelsey's mom.
You don't have a name. Like,
Yeah.
oh, hi, Kelsey's mom. Like, that's how I would have always said it to any of my friends,
Yeah.
parents and stuff. But, like, I've seen so many TikToks of, like, Puerto Rican people talking about how they feel so incredibly seen by this movie. They're like, the smallest things are right.
Good.
They're like,
I bet they had a lot of
everything's
people working behind the scenes to make sure that that was the case.
I would fucking hope so. I mean, it sounds like they went hard on that, like with Spider-Man India, right?
Yeah.
So there's the family drama stuff. I guess we can go ahead and get into this because it's kind of what Miles' whole issue is this whole time, and that crops up during that scene.
Okay.
There's a lot of him wanting to basically be like, I'm Spider-Man. I want to tell you this, right?
Uh-huh.
So this movie, it's an allegory and kind of an FU to a bunch of people in different ways.
Okay.
So this movie is like an allegory for basically coming out. Like, there's tons of stuff about... Because there was a line that really got me. He even said, like, I didn't know if you would love me the same anymore.
Yes.
That kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know?
That is exactly it. Like, that's also kind of where the scene with Miles and his mom hit, because she's like, there's something that you're not telling me, and if you want to tell me, it's okay. Like, I'll still love you. And he has the moment where he's like about to tell her, and then just
so
can't.
Close, so much.
Can't bring himself to do it.
I hate it.
Yeah, that part resonated and hurt.
So there's that, and then people tie that in with a lot of Gwen as well, because she does, and then it causes this like struggle.
Yes, she is like an allegory for the trans experience, basically, or the gay experience, the LGBTQ experience. It is, I mean, she's very trans-coded in this movie, by which I mean, like, everything about her is pink and blue and white. The trans flag is just, like, all over her fucking house at one point.
She even has, above her bedroom door, it says, protect trans rights.
Which is amazing.
And then Miles has a Black Lives Matter button on his backpack at one point, too.
He
and
does.
They've both come out and said, like, we were very upfront that we were going to let you know where these people stood.
Yeah, which is great.
We're saying something, you know.
We need heroes like that, because that is heroic, when like the small things that you can do in your own life to stand up for trans kids and stand up for Black Lives Matter. That's modern day heroism. Like, yeah. So, I mean, in the way of speaking of family drama and stuff, like there's that whole scene with Spider-Gwen and her dad when she comes back home, and they have like this conversation where, I know the thing with the art, like the background around her dad just kind of like melts to beige and stuff. And behind her, it's like just
listening. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like listening and trying to take in what's going on. And she's just like, her entire house turns just trans flag. Like it's just blue and pink and melty. And even herself, like her suit colors by default are kind of echoing that too. Like she has the kind of pink and blue webbing in her hood or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just looked really fucking good, and it was clearly intentional. And I've been seeing so much discourse on Twitter. I need to stop going on Twitter.
Yeah, you need to be on TikTok with this shit, because everyone on TikTok loves this movie.
Everyone on Twitter hates it. So,
I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go away from Twitter and just.
Yeah, Twitter's not the place.
It's not the place. It's not the place to be. But yeah, I mean, this movie came out during Pride Month, and I think that's intentional.
I have heard that as well.
Yeah, it's clearly sending a message, and I love the people who worked on this movie for doing that.
I'm going to go ahead and get into one of the points of the movie before we move on with the story.
Okay.
Probably part of the stuff that'll make me cry talking about this movie.
Oh, no.
Is like what it means. So we'll get to her. The point of this movie, because I said it was almost like an FU to people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you aren't a part of this, but you'll understand this a lot. It's definitely towards, let's say, like your Star Wars fans that shit on the stuff just because it's there.
Yeah, nerd culture that doesn't like nerd culture.
Yes. This movie, its whole premise, its entire point is almost to say F you to the people that shunned Miles when he was first created.
because Miguel O'Hara is that person.
Yep. Like, he is the embodiment of that part of the fandom, and it's
Yes.
clearly stated. Like, that's what we were doing. We were
See, I
trying
wish
to
they
show
hadn't made
that.
him so fucking hot, Oscar Isaac. You can't bring this, like, sexual energy to this character that we're supposed to hate. Like, he's so hateable and so, like, something about him, man.
Yeah. So, it's about that, you know, because Miles' whole thing is that he... Like, people don't like him. And there's tons of, like, argument to make him the face of the Spider-Man brand these days.
Fucking good.
Shelve Peter for... It's not to say Peter doesn't exist, but maybe there's a new one. Maybe
We're in the Miles era.
Maybe the 60-year-old hero sits back for a new guy.
Yes.
Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff for that. Part of the Spider-Gwen stuff, and then this story fucking killed me. So the whole thing is, another reason for the first movie was they were trying to give Spider-Man to everybody.
Okay.
The whole thing is, the character of Spider-Man, his whole premise is that he belongs to everybody.
Yeah.
Stanley has come out and said, the greatest thing we did for him was make his suit entirely cover his body.
Yeah.
You have no idea, is he white? Is he black? Is he Hispanic? Is he old? Is he young? He can be whatever you want under there, right?
Yeah.
He can be anything. That was almost the point he's had for 60 years. No one's grasped it until we brought Miles in and these movies started doing it. The whole point of the first movie is that anyone can wear the mask, right?
Yeah.
Which is why you got Gwen, you got Miles now, you got all this stuff. And the guy that plays Peter B. Parker, the guy from New Girl.
Yes. Nick something. That's not his real name.
That guy's
Nick
name.
from New Girl.
Yeah. He told a story that killed me. It was awesome. He was like, yeah, my daughters, he has 2 little girls. He's like, my little girls love Spider-Man. And when they would play as Spider-Man girl. That's what they would call themselves, right? Because it was Spider-Man. But I'm a girl once, so I'm Spider-Man girl. And he was like, that was cute, but it kind of hurt my feelings. I thought that wasn't very fair. And then we made the first movie, and now they could be Spider-Woman. They could be Spider-Gwen. They didn't have to be Spider-Man. They could be whatever Spider-Man they were.
Yeah.
And it's still okay. You know,
that.
like, this movie's all about fitting in, the acceptance, all that shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking beautiful. I love it.
It is beautiful.
Because that's Spider-Gwen's whole thing. She just wants to be accepted. She just wants her dad to be cool and think I didn't murder my best friend, you know?
Yes. And, I mean, there's that whole speech that Miguel has, too, where he is, like, telling Miles the whole reason for why he hates him. He's like, you don't belong here. And that whole
shit
thing
gets
is
intense, man.
Right back to his mother's speech. Like, I want you to know that little boy, he always belongs wherever he goes.
Yep.
Like, fucking belongs. This movie punches you in the face with that message over and over and over in so many different ways, in the viewpoint of an immigrant, in the viewpoint of a kid that doesn't feel like they can be themselves. It's over and over and over, and it's perfect.
Dude, the ending of that movie. Well, that's really almost like the kind of middle, because then there's like everything that happens after, but like that whole train sequence was a lot.
It was.
So yeah, we find out. So Gwen comes to see him. They're chit-chatting. And then that's when Miles' mom, Rio, gives the whole little speech thing. Mm-hmm. And she's all like, go be with your friend. Be gone. Shoo, little boy.
Ungrounded.
And he goes and, that sequence was so good. When, like, he goes where she is and she was trying to catch the spot, but he's already disappeared.
And he's invisible, and she's, like, looking into his eyes, but right through him.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Looking back at the party that they were just at together.
Yeah.
I really picked up on that on round 2. I thought it was just like the city, but really like his party is on the rooftop right there. She's staring at that party with him. You know? So, yeah, that whole scene, fucking dope. Then he
One
jumps
thing I
in.
super loved about that scene, though, is the
Okay.
fact that he's like upside down and she writes it up, and it's just
Yeah.
reminiscent of like the original Spider-Man, like that kiss that
Mhm.
Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst have.
Okay.
Harkens back to that shit.
We discussed this last time. We're going to hit it now.
Okay.
They are friends. That's what we love about the first one.
That's one thing I wanted to bring to you about this movie.
What do we think about... Because I don't know in this one. They play with it so much,
Yeah.
but they always put it back in like a... But you guys are just friends. Because like there's the thing where like she knows too. Like that's the whole thing. She sees all the times he moves closer and all that shit.
So like
and then
hand
she plays him
creeping
off,
closer
you
to
know?
her. Yes. It's,
Yeah.
I from the perspective of Gwen in this movie, I think it's like she sees, like she wants to be in a relationship with him, and she sees that they could have happiness together, but she knows that the canon events or whatever are going to come through, and she can't lose another spider friend or whatever.
Watching the first one again, I was like, God, I love this part where they just do the friend thing. It was,
Yes.
It hits
Beautiful.
me every time. I love it.
Perfect.
But this one, I feel like it's really, really trying to play up a romance, though.
There's very much a will they, won't they vibe happening.
Which we get to when we meet Spider-Man India, because that's one of my favorite fucking parts of him, when he's all like, oh, this tension is so much. How can you even concentrate? Oh, my God. Will they, won't they? I don't know.
Oh, my God.
He's so good.
He is good.
So he follows Gwen because they're chasing the Spot, and he can now travel the multiverse on his own. They go to Spider-Man India, which he's okay to me. Like, I kind of thought he's gonna be my favorite, like, new one. But
Indian Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's not my favorite new one, but mostly because he's not really. I was gonna say he's not in it a lot, but my favorite one is not in it a lot, so I can't say that that's why.
Yeah,
I think I know why. It's because he has no problems.
Yeah, he's just very, like, smooth and cool, you know? Like, everything's easy for him. Perfect hair.
Because he is a Spider-Man that has never undergone
The canon event.
a bad thing. He is the Spider-Man that has nothing in his way. Everything's good. Everything's going his way. That's not a compelling Spider-Man. That's like having a Superman, you know? Like, that's not... And see, I hate saying that because I sound a little bit like Miguel, but that's not Spider-Man. That doesn't work for me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair assessment. I think that as a character, he's really funny and good. And I
like him, yeah.
The entirety of the Mumbattan sequence was just perfection. Like, the colors, the music, everything about that.
His web on the little spindle thing. Oh, my God.
Incredible.
I thought his whole segment was super funny, and I thought that was like the halfway point of the movie. Boy, was I wrong. That's like a third, maybe.
Yeah.
But his stuff is cool, and that's when we kind of get into the problem. Get into the problem of the movie, because old Spot gets in the collider from this universe and becomes like fucking... Okay, when that happened, when he turned into like the Spot... When he goes black with like the white scribbles for where the hole should be and went like hardcore, my mouth was just like hanging open. I was so about it.
Yeah.
Cause like, you know that I like it when a kid's movie gives me like, you know, the stakes are like the really scary thing, right?
Yeah.
And he was both. He is completely terrifying.
He's
when he becomes
very scary.
His thing.
Ugh, look at that. This
oh my
art
God.
is incredible. He's
Woof.
very Slenderman vibes. Like,
oh yeah,
the way his legs are like just a little too long and his torso is like weirdly rectangular. He just
yeah. He is a good villain. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I like him a lot. Like, this
Yeah.
is one of the coolest comic book villains I've ever seen.
And then, so he gets like super powered, and he's like, "Cool, I'm gonna go fuck up your world now, and then you'll remember me." And just like goes away.
Yeah.
And when he does, it causes like a whole bunch of stuff to fall, and Miles winds up saving a like captain of the police from dying and stops a canon event. And
yeah.
everyone's like, "What the fuck's canon event? You've said it a bunch." In the, you know, very lore heavy part of the movie that comes up later, every Spider-Man must go through a canon event. There are certain things that must happen for you to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which is typically an Uncle Ben dying. For Gwen, it was Peter dying. Somebody has to die to give you the motivation, and then you have another trauma later that like really cements everything for you.
Yeah.
I have to break down the canon event thing real quick.
Okay.
Because I don't buy into that.
All right.
So Miguel's whole thing is that the canon events are canon. They're like the whole reason for being. And he went into a world where he had died, but he had a daughter. He snuck into it, and that world collapsed, right?
Right.
So you can't break the canon. Gwen doesn't have that same canon. She has Peter dying. It's a whole different setup altogether from the get-go.
Yeah.
She is already an anomaly, and we're saying that Miles is the anomaly?
Yeah.
Like, she already is one. She doesn't fit the mold either.
Right. But I think what the problem is that he is the anomaly in his universe, or he created an anomaly in another universe.
That's
so like
true.
Spider 42 or whatever came through the, I don't know, porthole or whatnot. And it deprived a different universe of their Spider-Man. So there's a universe out there that doesn't have one.
So, all the way back in part 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's doing this whole like thing where he's spray painting with his uncle, right?
Yeah.
And you see the spider come in.
Yes.
It has a certain number written on it, and it does this all the way back in the first one. We are 12 minutes exactly into the first movie. And there's the glitch letting you know this doesn't belong here.
Yeah, like this weird electronic spider comes down from the ceiling and just starts glitching around. It's got 42 labeled on its back and everything. So like they plotted this out.
Yeah, this was a thing. But are you ready for me to really fuck you up though?
Yes, please.
We're gonna like kind of spoil the ending a little early, but we're already here. So when he gets bit and he doesn't really believe it, and he comes in and meets this Spider-Man, they have this little moment, right? Where they look at each other and like their spider senses kind of go off at one another.
Uh-huh.
And that's how he's like, oh shit, you're like me, right? Right here. So this happens, right?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Yes.
This is the first movie. We're 22 minutes in. Okay? I mean, we're kind of flip-flopping back and forth with story stuff, but like this movie ends with Miles going to the universe that his spiders should have been from.
Yes.
Because that's the DNA that's inside of him, so it sends him there, right?
Yeah, which that was a whole cool plot point in and of itself.
That was a whole thing, man.
No, the chase sequence ends. I didn't even realize what was fucking happening because he goes to, okay, so there's that machine that like takes him back and he's like, I have to get to the machine so I can get out of here.
The
And he
go-home
gets there.
machine.
Yeah, the go-home machine. Perfectly named. And it's obviously going to send him back to the universe that's in his DNA. But the spider, as we know, in Spider-Man, changes your DNA.
Yeah.
So he goes back to Universe 42, and I was like, "Oh shit!" When they revealed that, that really blew me back.
I really started to kind of like get suspicious,
And
then when it happened, I was like, like it did hit me.
Yeah, that was a good twist.
I definitely didn't like just flat out go, oh yeah, he's in the wrong place.
Yeah,
I was like, is he in the wrong place? Wait a minute. So actually, his mom has different colored eyes in the other world. So people picked up on it immediately because they were like, that's not his mom's eye color.
Weird.
They noticed it immediately, and I was like, yeah, I didn't notice that. But so, spoiler for like the ending, since the spider came through a portal and bit Miles in our world right here, there's a world without a Spider-Man. That's like the whole premise for the movie, right?
Yeah.
And in that world now, that Miles has become the Prowler, like his uncle did, right?
Right.
All right, so the Prowler is green and purple. That's his color scheme, right?
Okay.
So here's our Miles. The spider senses go off. He's green and purple because he's this universe's Prowler.
Okay.
But he got bit by the spider, and in this moment, his fate changed, and he became Spider-Man. And it turns red and blue.
That's so cool.
That happened in 2018. And in 2023, that payoff has happened. Like, what are we supposed to take from that? Why would you ever think that?
Yeah.
But it's here. It's already written there, right there. Boom. It happens. That's how intricately they've already laid this out. It's insane. I hate these guys. They're phenomenal.
They really like road mapped this thing.
They did. It's like disgusting to know that if you give people the right amount of freedom and encouragement and time to make a thing, they can make some wild good shit.
Don't you love humans?
Sometimes, dude, when they make good Spider-Man shit.
Like good things.
That's the whole thing there. But so that's the whole canon event thing that I wanted to get to. Because he saved the captain in Spider-Man India's world, he's like, Miguel shows up and he's like, oh, well, the universe is going to collapse. Hopefully we can salvage it, right?
Yeah.
I never once thought that was because he saved that dude. I thought it was just because Spot did some shit.
Oh.
So I fully think that in Miguel's world where everything collapsed, I think it's just Spot stuff. I think the Spot has somehow fucked over his world. I don't think there's going to be this whole canon event thing that's going to like dismantle the web of Spider-Man. I think he had an unfortunate run of trying to live in that world. It didn't work. I can't break the canon. Nobody else can too because I know it. But do you know it? I think he's wrong.
So this is the YMBToAP called shot. We'll see in 2024 or later.
Or later. I'm betting on later.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. Because we already because I don't know, because the whole thing was Miles is depriving another world of a Spider-Man. But his world didn't collapse. The world in 42 didn't collapse without having him, and there was no true canon event that should have happened there. I mean, I guess his dad died, whatever, but like he wasn't Spider-Man. It's not the same. How's that feeding into this web? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd like to see how it resolves.
Miguel's got a lot of inconsistencies with his story here. Like, he's got some problems. His logic ain't logicking for me.
Yes, okay.
But so that whole thing happens, and then we meet who is the greatest character of the movie.
Are we talking about Hopi Brown?
Oh, we're talking about Spider-Punk, man.
Okay, he's
that
amazing.
That fool is fully laid out to be somebody that we're not supposed to like. Because the whole thing is, from the get-go, we're not supposed to like him because Miles likes Gwen, and then Gwen's staying at his place. She's wearing his shoes. She's leaving her toothbrush there. So like, there's this whole like
weird for me.
I don't think we're supposed to. He's like supposed to be the competition for Miles. That we're like, yeah, but Miles is gonna do it, right?
But they're like 14. Like how old? How old are these characters? I felt uncomfortable knowing that her toothbrush was at this adult man's house. Because I got the impression from him he was in like his 20s.
So I fully don't think there's anything romantic there.
Okay.
I mean, she has no home. She has no home. She doesn't go home and sleep at her dad's place.
Yeah.
She left her universe. She has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So she just hangs out at other people's universes. Like, I don't think there's anything like that. But I would put Miles at like 16, probably getting to 17, because Spider-Man typically gets bit at 15 years old.
Yeah, I feel like in the movie they established that he was like 15. I feel like at some point they said that.
I don't know for sure. Well, okay, so we know he's been Spider-Man for a year as of this movie.
Okay.
How old was
doing
Miles
canon math.
in Across the Spider-Verse? Spider-Man usually get bit. So Into the Spider-Verse, yeah. He's between 14 and 15. So he's definitely maybe on the verge of being 16 to 17 years old.
Okay.
So he's not he's still a child, but like he's like about to go to college as well.
Yeah,
like,
true.
I put him as like a junior in high school where, you start getting into the talk so that your senior year, everything lines up,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking he's like 16. Yeah. Okay. This thing says he's 16 to 17. So that makes sense. And I would put Gwen about the same.
And Hobie?
That motherfucker could be 30. Who fucking knows,
He's timeless. Man? We don't really know. I did love his character though, like just full on London punk anarchy situation. It was very
He
Sex Pistols.
So I've been getting a lot of TikToks of people that are punk being like, finally, a movie that has punk in it correctly. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that he was such good, representation, man. Here we are again at it. I just thought it's fun that you get to see, like, on top of the layer that he's punk, like, it's a person who's not white that's punk. And you don't get that representation very often, I don't feel.
Yeah. And so, like, we're kind of supposed to not like him. I was kind of like, oh, who the fuck's this guy?
I loved him the minute he dropped out of the sky.
He's the only person that supports Miles ever.
That's true.
From the first thing he ever says to him is, don't use your fingertips, use your palms. Like, the first thing he does is give him a tip.
Yeah.
That winds up being what he needs later on in the movie. Like,
shit.
He is always about him. I'm going to blow your mind with this one now. Because he's the art style I wanted to tell you about.
Yes. Oh, I fucking love his art style. The fact that it is constantly changing, I'm obsessed.
Okay. They took 3 years to figure out how to get him to work.
Holy God.
3 years of work was spent solely on him.
And he has like 10 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
Not much at all.
Just to figure out how to get him to work. Man. Right? So here's how they did it.
Tell me.
You get Miguel, most of the other Spider-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are animated on ones. So if you look at every frame of the movie, they are in a new pose. Every single frame.
Okay.
They're moving fluidly and all that stuff. Miles is animated on twos, so you have to tap twice. You got to go frame, frame. You get a new image. Frame, frame. You get a new image. So he feels off because he's not up to snuff, right?
Yeah. He's out of sync. He's not in his universe.
Hobie is animated on threes.
Oh, man. Oh.
He gets one new image every third frame. That's because he can't even conform to the animation style of the movie.
Incredible.
But also this got noticed, and I love this, which I wish I had the TikTok here to like prove that stuff to you. I'm going to find it and send it to you later, but every time he's near Miles, he turns pink.
Oh.
It's almost like he has this kinship with him, and that's when he softens every time. Like, to the most minute detail. He'll be like over here. If Miles were to like walk by, he'll go pink, back to black and white. Like, anytime he is right next to Miles, he turns pink.
That's so cool.
It's a tiny little thing, but it's almost like there's your little somewhat like visual indicator that like they're kind of a pair. They're cool with each other, you know?
Is he coming back?
Is he what?
Is he coming back? Like, are we going to see him in the next movie?
I mean, he was at the end on Gwen's team, so I would hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Which, I guess I got to pull this one up for you. Apparently, the poster has already said a bunch of stuff to us, too.
Oh, we have a poster? A poster?
A poster?
A poster?
Well, so this is the poster for this movie.
Okay.
This poster is already telling us the end of the movie. So this poster, here's Miles.
Okay.
Even on this poster, this is the against Miles side. This is the pro Miles side. And
and even like the scratches on his suit are on the against side.
Yeah.
I love that his spider is upside down, so that when he's upside down, the spider is right side up.
Yeah. Like, that's the planning. Like, even that visual storytelling alone, all the scratches are on the against side. You just pointed that. I didn't even think of that yet.
That's so cool.
And then here you go with this one, you know? Oh, yeah, this dude will be back. Nicolas Cage is going to be back because Spider-Man Noir was at the end.
Spider-Man. Oh, right. Okay.
On Gwen's side.
Yeah, I forgot that Nicolas Cage voiced one of these extra Spider-Men.
That, John Mulaney. Penny Parker was my favorite one in Into the Spider-Verse. She had the, like, spider robot thing. And then she was in this movie
robot mode.
So sad. She was so decrepit and sad.
Yeah, she was very sad.
Like, I don't know if people got pictures of her.
You sent me a TikTok of her today. It was like from the first movie. It was like pre-2019 people, and then the next movie, there. 20 to 23.
Oh, I'm not sharing with you anymore. I know. Look at her.
She's so cute.
Because this is what being Spider-Man does to you.
It's awful.
Like, that's kind of the whole thing, which I loved about this movie because that was something that, Peter B. Parker says. He's all like, yes, bad happens, but so much good happens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff. He made me cry because he's got his baby now. And then he runs up to him and he's like, you're the fucking reason I wanted to have a baby.
Yes. That hurt my feelings.
Which is insane because he doesn't belong. He's, an anomaly. He's not supposed to exist.
Yeah.
Yet he can inspire all of that.
Yeah.
Then they're
Peter
walking
B. Parker
through...
is so fucking sweet. Like, he is...
Oh, he's the best.
I think he's an underrated character in this movie because he doesn't get a lot of screen time. You just see him, like, in dad mode. But, like, the things he says and the way that he cares for Miles, like, you know that he brought him up, Like, it's just so... Their connection is very, very sweet.
I mean, it better fucking be with the shit that they do in the first movie together. Like,
yeah.
Which I'm going to tie that back together, too. Man, it's
all
so
a pretty bow
in there. In the first movie, when he meets Peter B. Parker for the first time, he ties him up to a punching bag.
Oh, shit.
In his uncle's apartment.
I totally don't remember that.
And that's when he teaches him his first thing. He says, don't watch the mouth, watch the hands. Right?
Okay, yeah.
That's lesson number 1. It's the first thing he ever taught him. And then at the end of the movie, when they're, like, trying to send everybody back home and shit, he's like, I'll stay, I'll die here on this planet. It's fine, right?
Yeah.
And Miles hits him with that same thing because they're fighting about what to do. And he trips him, and he goes, hey, man, watch the mouth, not the hands. And then he steals the goober, and he's going to save it. Like, they have a fucking moment here because he's...
Yeah.
Him and MJ broke up because he didn't want to have kids. So she left him, and now he's alone. And, like, kind of like you said, so what? He's been Spider-Man for 22 years, he said, when he did his story thing. So he's probably 40?
Yeah, something around that. Maybe like late 30s.
Spider-Man gets bit at 15. So for 22 years, so he's 37.
Yeah.
He's 37. Miles is 15, we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the amount of trust that he gives this kid. Because he's like, how do I know that I won't fuck up again when I go home? And Miles hits him with the advice he gave him.
Yeah.
And he fully trusts this 15-year-old kid. And he's like, yeah, man, you got my back. Like, that's a tight team right there.
Yeah, they're a perfect pair.
Like, that's the part of the movie that makes me cry from the first one a lot. I can't handle that shit.
Can we talk about Piter? Jesus.
Oh, dude, if Spider-Man were in this movie, I would fucking lose it, man.
Can we talk about Peter B. Parker's version of Mary Jane? Because she looks like the perfect cross between Emma Stone and Kirsten Dunst. Like, they animated this woman in such a way that she looks like both of them and neither of them simultaneously.
Let's see. I know she's in here because...
Was she in the first movie?
Yeah, he's offering her bread.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that. But yeah, watching her in the second movie, looking after their children and stuff, I was like, she's the perfect mix of both of them.
They were so cute, though. That's a sports...
Who voices her?
That was a sports thing. I've seen sports.
I know sports.
You were just such a nerd in high school. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who does her voice. MJ's so good in this movie, though.
She is.
Peter's back. Peter B. Parker's back. Then you get the room of, like, all the, like, references, and there's too fucking many. But here's the story that I wanted to tell you.
Okay.
You see Donald Glover.
Yes. Oh, my God, yes.
Okay. See Donald Glover in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why that is important?
No.
Miles Morales does not exist without that man being on the planet.
Okay.
So, you'll actually love this. I think you will love this. I need to send it back to when he goes to his uncle's place here. Because it's actually in the first movie. When he goes to see his uncle for the first time in the first movie, right? There's a scene on TV back here. See this scene right here?
Yeah.
This is Donald Glover in an episode of Community.
Really?
Stretching
Oh my God, it
he's
is.
wearing Spider-Man pajamas
Yeah.
in one 2-second clip of the show Community. That's the extent of it, right?
Did you find this, or did you see a TikTok or something on this?
I mean, like, I knew that he was, like, a deal about Miles being created, but I didn't know that it was on this part of the movie way back when.
Okay.
Because I was always staring at his uncle, because he's voiced by Mashallah Ali or whatever. I usually can say his name, I'm having a bad time now. He's just the most beautiful dude. I fucking love him. Everything he's ever been in, he's
Okay.
perfect. But so, like, all the way back here, we're tying in Donald Glover because somebody was watching Community and they saw Donald Glover in that costume and they went, why shouldn't there be a black Spider-Man? And they
Okay.
created Miles Morales.
For real? Like, that's
Yeah,
where he came from?
That's literally how it happened.
That's incredible.
Miles has only been here since 2011.
Man,
Like, he's a pretty new thing.
I didn't know this.
So, there was a big push. Make Donald Glover Miles Morales. Make him
Fuck
be
yeah.
a black Spider-Man in the movies, right? And it never
I would
happened.
love that. Ugh.
And then he aged too much, and now it's
Oh,
the moment's gone, right?
okay.
But when Tom Holland became Spider-Man in his first movie, Donald Glover is in it, and he
Really?
plays the Prowler, and he's like, "Hey
Oh,
man,
shit.
keep this shit off the streets. I got a nephew that lives around here," and so
Oh my
we're
God.
referencing Miles. And then in this movie, this cartoon movie, we get Donald Glover in the Prowler getup, being like, "Sup, man."
Yeah,
Miles exists because Donald Glover exists.
that's nuts.
He is so integral to this character's livelihood, and I love that he's peppered throughout it all the way, and he got to be the Prowler and do all the shit, so he's just in it all the time.
That's so cool.
Fucking neat. And I know that you like Community, so I was like,
I do.
I bet she loves him in this show, and little does she know, this movie exists because of that scene right there.
I just love Donald Glover. Like, he's a fascinating
He's a
person.
wild dude.
Yeah.
I thought you'd like that little bit of history about Miles Morales.
Yeah.
He's one of the things in the, the room. You find out about the canon events, and Miguel, lost this imaginary family that he kind of had because it wasn't really his family. And so
Mhm.
he's like, basically, you're due for a canon event. You got to stay here. And then you get one of the best chase sequences ever, which the second time we saw it, so I've been to Burger King and I got the Whopper for Across
Oh my God, the Spider
Spider-Verse.
Whopper. I
Yeah.
haven't seen a picture of it. Does it look like it does in the movie?
No, that's the thing. It's
Okay.
just a red burger here.
Weird.
But in the movie, it's a Spider-Man 2099 burger because we're
Okay.
in his universe. We're in Miguel's verse. So I
Okay.
turned to Taylor and I go, "Yo, did you see that?" And that chase scene's really loud, but then it cuts because it's when like they're all like, "You, who?" and they do the
That
point
was
thing.
so funny.
So I'm yelling at her because it's really loud, and then I go, "Did you see that? It was a Spider-Man 2099 burger." And she was like, "Yeah, I saw it." And I was like, "Cool." And then we proceeded to watch the movie again.
God.
But I thought that was funny because I went out and got that burger, had horrible diarrhea the next day.
Awesome. Glowing review.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get it again. But so that chase sequence, there's things in that chase sequence that I even tried to look for and I couldn't find watching it the second time.
So much was happening in that
He
chase
gets
sequence.
chased by our emoji popsicle.
Oh my God, does he for real?
That popsicle is sentient and flying around trying to catch him in that fucking scene.
What? For context, for people that are not in our Patreon, we have a secret Discord where we make emojis, and we have a little emoji of the fucking horrible
Of the so-so
Spider-Man.
popsicle from the first
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Ridiculous.
It's in the movie chasing him, which I
That's
think is
amazing.
fascinating.
Incredible.
There's a Spider-Man plush that like zooms by the screen for a fraction of a second, but people on TikTok have slowed it down, and that's really funny. That scene is just amazing. It's so great. And then we get the Peter B. Parker thing we talked about, and this is like the ending, man. This is like the climactic finish.
Yeah.
Then you get Miguel like beating Miles in, and I hated that scene way
That
more
was
on
so
round two
hard.
because he's like
Ugh.
trying to pull his hands off, and it feels like this abuse thing, you know?
Yeah, it's
like,
awful.
It's hard.
It's oppressive. Like you can feel that Spider-Man's hands on your chest.
Yeah.
Like it's not nice.
And I was like losing my shit because that's when he drops it like, you're the original anomaly. You shouldn't even be here. And he starts spilling all the shit.
Oh, it's horrible.
And then I love that Peter's like, I don't know if he planned all this out. And then he's like, I made all your people follow me. Peace. And he's like, oh, he did plan it out. Good job.
Yeah. It was kind of heartbreaking, though, watching, like, Spider-Gwen try to be, I don't know, the good person on both sides. Like, she wants Miles to understand, like, you are an anomaly and this isn't good. But she also feels bad for doing that because that's her, like, bestie. And she doesn't want him to ever feel like he doesn't belong because she's been feeling that way with her dad.
Taylor saw this on round 1. I didn't, and I had to see it on round 2. She tries to catch him at one point to save him from something during that chase sequence, and he looks at her and rips that one off and shakes his head no at her, like, we're done.
Yeah,
and I didn't see that the first time because I think I was just taking in all the shit, you know?
Yeah,
because then you find out that they knew he was an anomaly, and that's why they never came to see him. So he felt alone for a year, and now he feels truly fucking alone. And then he goes to the go home machine. It sends him to the wrong place, like we discussed. And then that's another scene that I think about way too much. When Miguel is like, I'm gonna go find him in his world. There's a scene of him in the rain on a rooftop, just like looking from like left to right.
Yeah.
And there's everything he does is visually striking.
It is.
Like, he just like looks from one side to another, and I'm like, that's one of the most realistic scenes I've ever seen in my life. And I want to look at it all the time. Like, I want a wallpaper engine of just that. That's what I want.
Play it on loop over and over.
So then you find out he went to the wrong universe where his spider is from. And then Gwen went and chased him to go home, went to his real universe, but he's not there. So now, where the fuck is Miles?
Yeah.
We gotta save him, but no one knows where he is. And then he gets kidnapped by the fucking Prowler, and you're like, what the fuck is happening now?
Yeah, like, I don't know, not knowing... Did you know that he was going to be the Prowler? Like, Miles is the Prowler?
0% I was like, oh my god! No,
yeah,
like,
all right. I didn't know if that was already established.
Was just punching me in the face.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I felt the same. I was like, I don't know if this is, I don't know, Spider-Man or if this movie is just so well crafted, but I feel, I literally was like pressed into my seat. I was blown away.
See, I knew it was getting Taylor because she sits up when shit gets real, and she like put the chair out of recline and then like sat forward.
I have to pay attention to this one.
Like the whole ending, she was just like, which I'll tie into the music in a minute.
Okay, yeah.
So then we get your speech that you talked about because Gwen goes home and she's like, I don't know what to fucking do anymore. I don't know where he is, all that shit. And then she talks to her dad and is all like, I suck at everything. You think I killed my best friend. I don't know what to do anymore. All I try to do is help people, but all I do is mess it up. And I don't know what's real anymore. I don't even know who I am, kind of. I don't know what to do. And then he's just like, be my cool little girl.
Yeah.
And then he's all happy and things are cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they like had that moment of reconciliation and recognition, you know? Like he can see his daughter now, like this is who she is.
Now, did you notice stuff about Hobie? All the time they were in there with Miguel, he was doing something in the background the whole time.
I don't think I noticed.
The entire time they're walking to meet Miguel and stuff, he's kind of like bugging Miles and like playing with him and like being mean to him.
He's like popping in and out and stuff.
Yeah, he keeps stealing pieces from computers the whole time.
Oh my god.
Because he knows I'm about to quit this thing and I'm going to make a spare watch for Gwen and I'm going to go drop that off. Like he already planned on all this.
Okay.
He already saw everything falling apart and was like, I'm going to get ready for that.
I thought he was just being a little weirdo.
Nope. He was sitting there planning the whole fucking time.
Damn.
Because then he quits the Spider Society when they all turn on Miles because he's like, fuck that. And there's a really good TikTok. They zoomed in on his face while everyone's like fighting about Miles when he's trapped in the thing.
Yeah.
And Hobie like looks at Miles and he tells him to do the palm thing. And then like he slowly looks at the group and it's like you can see that he knows that they aren't good people now.
Wow.
Like that's when he decides I'm going to quit. And I love how he does it cuz he's just like I fucking quit. Just throws his watch and leaves.
Yeah.
And then when the baby poops her diaper, crapping on the establishment. I salute you.
I laughed so hard at that.
It. He's so good.
He's so good. Every single line was killer.
I know when Spider-Man India's world's falling apart, they're all like, "What is that?" And he's like, "That's a metaphor for capitalism."
Yes. I was on the floor laughing like, "Oh my god."
So, he already planned everything out, made a watch, and then went and dropped it off with Gwen's dad, and he gives it to her, and I love that it's got, the punk spikes on it and shit.
Yes,
like,
so good.
He's such a loser. I love him. And she's like, gotta go. I gotta do this. And I kind of really like this about the movie. It's also really about how kind of hard parenting can be, and is. Because it happens all the time. And my new fucking quote, though, I almost sent it to you the other day, but I say it to Taylor all the time now. She'll, like, talk about something, and I'm like, well, as somebody with no skin in the game. And I say that all the time now. But, like, his dad's like, you just try to do the best for your kids, and then they grow up. And then what are you supposed to do? Because your whole job is over.
Yeah.
And then there's Gwen's dad that's like, you just support all this weird shit. She's going to run off into portals and whatever, dude. I'm just here for it.
Uh-huh.
I'm dad, So then she goes off and starts crafting a fucking team to save Miles. Miles is all kidnapped. The music's building. Shit's getting real. And then we get the ending, which is what I was telling you this scene about for. They're watching the mouth. They're not watching his hands. And he breaks through his suit and touches the chain with that one finger, and he's gonna bust loose because they ain't watching the hands, man. He still holds Peter B. Parker's first lesson to him, and it still comes in handy.
It's gorgeous.
Like, it all plays up.
It's all connected.
So, and then that's pretty much where it ends. It just says like, hey, there we go. But so we get that full arc with Gwen. She felt lost and is now like, her purpose is there, her acceptance is there.
She has a mission.
It's all good. So that's where I wanted to get into some of the music with you.
Okay.
This music was very God of War.
Oh.
Everybody has an instrument or has a theme, and when that character's around, that theme pervades. So I only picked up on how the intro to the movie is like all these drums and shit.
Yeah.
And the end of the movie was all the drums. So I was like, oh yeah, we built up with this, and we're closing with this. It was an end cap to its own beginning, right?
And very intense music, like very, very good.
At the end of the... Spider-Gwen's theme, by the way, fucking, like, really good. Hers doesn't start till, like, halfway through her own song. Like, you get halfway through this, and then her actual theme fucking starts.
Yeah.
And hers is good.
So good. The little violin.
Hers is good. So, just like God of War does, everyone's got a theme, and then as more people get introduced, they start to, like, blend together.
Like intertwining themes and stuff.
Yeah. The end of this movie is everybody's theme building into one giant, like, crescendo.
Oh, cool.
It's everybody's theme. So you've got the Miles stuff. You get the drums from Gwen, because this is when she's, like, getting her band together and doing all the stuff. Then you get Miguel coming in later, and you start getting his, like, sirens in the back.
Yeah.
And everybody starts layering in on top of one another to create one sound.
Her entire, like, drum solo in the beginning of the movie was so captivating.
Oh, yeah. The drums in this are amazing. I don't know who this guy is, Daniel Pemberton, but he needs to be doing more soundtracks.
Yeah, this is good. I wonder if he's done some more stuff. Let me have a look. But, shit, what was I about to say? Oh yeah. So at the beginning when she's like, I don't need this band. I'm gonna go start my own band. At the
Oh,
end,
yeah.
she's actually like started a band of heroes. Very
Yep.
cool.
That's actually the name of this track. It's Across the Spider-Verse, Start a Band.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Like, it's too much detail. Like, there's too much detail in this movie. It's like disgusting. It's just phenomenal that they could even make this happen. The interconnectivity. And how do you like just go like, I want to tie a whole bunch of hardcore themes into this as well and make
Yeah.
it work effortlessly to
Truly.
explain multiverse to people, and it feels like that makes total sense.
Yeah, like they just really they brought it home with this one.
Everything
And
about this is perfect.
it's just so carefully thought through and crafted. Like this story is going somewhere, and we can see that. Like the building blocks are there.
Oh, yeah.
This did so much to like crescendo the story and get it to like the rising action, and now we are ready for the fall and resolution. Like I'm so excited for the next one.
I heard somebody go, we ended with Gwen's getting a band of people. Miguel is like hot on Miles' trail. He's kidnapped by Prowler. That's where we're starting.
Yeah.
The opening of that movie is going to be insane.
This next movie is going to be 3 hours long. Like,
I fucking hope so.
I hope so too, honestly.
But if
I
that's
can't
the
wait.
case, I want it to be delayed.
Yeah, I think that this one needs to like stay in the oven until it's done. I don't want to see this one
yeah.
until it is equally as beautiful, if not more so than this past one.
So I will close out with this because we've talked about it being so perfect. To date, only 3 animated movies have ever been up for Best Picture.
Ooh.
That is Beauty and the Beast, Toy Story 3, and Up. Now there is a Best Animated category, but those 3 movies made it to Best Picture. Like,
Yeah.
toe-to-toe with the best of everybody else. Of course, they'd never win them, but do you think this could be up for Best Picture?
I think it deserves a nomination. Absolutely. I don't think the Academy would let it win.
Of course not.
But
It's a superhero movie.
Yeah, I want to see this one. Like, this needs to be acknowledged. People need to be looking at this movie, looking
Yeah.
at the art style of this movie, just in particular. I think if there's one thing that like regular Hollywood or just any old person could take from this movie, is that it's gorgeous. You
Oh, yeah.
cannot deny that this movie has panache. It has style. Like, I want to see more stuff like this. Give me more projects like this in Hollywood. I'm sick of the same stories and the same boring actors playing the same roles. I want cool things for my eyeballs to latch onto.
So, would you consider the first one to be like a pretty big movie? Like Into the Spider-Verse? Would you say that was a big movie?
Like popular?
Yeah, or let's say like theatrically popular.
I don't think so.
It was not.
Yeah.
It actually was not that big. It only pulled in like $300 million. Like
In comparison
380.
to
I mean, most movies make kind of a lot more than that,
okay.
at least. I mean, it was profitable for sure, but it wasn't
Yeah.
that huge a success. People weren't like, oh yeah, that movie made money, right?
I can only imagine that this one has got to be fucking. I kind of want to say it's in the billions at this point because I feel like it deserves to be.
It's probably not going to get there.
You
which
don't
I
think
heard
so?
something interesting. So as of right now, it's already made what the first one made
Okay.
in like 2 weeks. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
about 2 weeks. It's probably not, because I did hear something interesting. Every single week this summer is like a new blockbuster.
There are
Like,
so many freaking movies coming out that I
Transformers
can't
came
wait to
out
see.
the next week. That's gonna take away IMAX screens and people seeing
Yeah.
Spider-Man again. And then you got Elemental next. Then you
When's
got
Barbie?
huh?
When's Barbie out? Is it already out?
No, that's closer in July.
Okay.
And then that comes out when Oppenheimer comes out. So that's like a
Yes.
whole thing as well.
Yeah, I want to see that one too. No, like this is, I think, a really big year for movies because, I mean, we are kind of now in the age where Hollywood has had long enough to kind of recover from COVID restrictions and stuff. We're in the spot where we're going to start seeing more regular, like, summer blockbusters and the holiday movie season. Like, that's going to start becoming a thing again, which I'm really excited for.
I mean, I'm not excited for my wallet.
No.
There's a lot of fucking movies.
Yeah.
But, like, this movie, I mean, it makes me forget other movies exist, kind of.
That's
this movie
a big
is,
statement.
This is a good movie. This is a perfect movie.
It is.
Like, if I were going to say a couple movies that were perfect, this is one of them.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Did you know that it is also the longest animated movie ever made?
What?
By a American studio. Because I know that there's one that's like 20 hours long or something.
Holy shit.
But this is the longest American animated movie of all time.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
I mean, this movie's doing a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to close out with this for you. When we left the theater for the second one, because I told you this whole movie is about, you know, it's supposed to be for people. Everyone's supposed to get a Spider-Man, be a Spider-Man, and all that shit,
Yeah.
right? When we were leaving the theater for the second time, there was a little black kid in the row in front of me. Had a Spider-Man outfit on, had his little glasses and stuff. Little bitty nerd kid, right? And I was like, yeah, that's what this is about. That's for this kid right here, right?
Fuck yeah.
And, like, he was standing up. Like, he was just standing there, like, watching this movie. So me and Taylor were already kind of feeling something about the kid. And then we start walking past that row. His mom was dressed in a Spider-Man suit as well.
Amazing.
And Taylor lost it. She busted out crying.
That's so cool.
And I was like, she's like, that's what I want to be. The like supportive parent that's like, I'll fucking do this shit, man.
Yeah.
This movie meant everything for me. I loved it.
Yeah. I'm happy that I saw this one.
But I'm glad that you loved it too.
It's definitely one that I think everyone should see in theaters. Like, I wish it was streaming just because, you know, it would be cool to have the option to see it at home too. Cheaper. Yeah. But if you can swing it, see this one in theaters while it's on, because I mean, big screen experience, big sound experience, very good time.
I'm just gonna say it, man. I've said it before. You go to Cinemark on a Tuesday, you can go for $5.
Yeah.
I mean, movies are expensive. I won't lie, but $5 is way more accessible than the $16 they normally try to charge. So
yeah,
go try to get you a $5 movie.
Go do it.
Go do it. This one needs it, and I will probably see it again tomorrow. Alone, I think, because I think Taylor's going to go see The Little Mermaid with somebody. Okay. And I was like, I'll drive you and go see Spider-Man. So I'm probably going to see it again.
Yeah. Good shit.
Oh, I didn't talk about this. Here's your final one. Into the Spider-Verse came out 2018. The first game for PS4 came out 2018. So now this movie came out this year, and Spider-Man 2 is coming out this year. So they're very, like, interconnected, right?
Yeah.
And the move that Miguel does to Miles, where he, like, grabs him and just fucking chunks him on the ground. Yeah. That move is in the Spider-Man game, too. And I was like, you know they was sharing secrets and, like, oh, yeah, let's, like, make this the Spidey move of the year, you know?
Okay.
Because Peter fucking grabs some dude and just, like, lays him into the ground.
Shit.
So Spider-Man's having a fucking year, man. He's having a good time. Moment. He's having a good time. And with that, you ready to swing on out of here?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
But we had one more important sound we wanted you to hear.
Oh, kind of our, like, are you ready to thwip out of here? And then we cut to the song, so.
Okay.
Technically, we already did it.
Sweet. Did we just end it then?
I guess I still put something at the end, so.
Okay.
What did I put at the end of this?
Something fucking fumbling in here, not being professional podcasters. How do we end an episode again?
I know. So yeah, so I guess we're done.
All right, sweet.
Flip out of here, and then I'll just find something to put at the end, so.
Yeah.
Boom! That's Spider-Man.
Spider-Man up.